There we are. All right. Hello. Welcome back to the Sunday Speedrunner Spotlight. I believe we're on episode 121. I'm trying to get better at actually remembering the number because it's so large, but I think I got it this time. Anyway, welcome to the show. Thanks for watching if you are, wherever. And I'll have our guests introduce themselves today.
Hello everyone, my name's ABEL. I play Mario Kart DS for a very, very, very long time now. Been playing since 2006, and I actively stream it on Twitch. And you may have seen me either do time trials on YouTube or do some of the RTA speed runs on Games Done Quick, ESA, and RTA in Japan, which I went to last summer. And yeah, I almost exclusively just play MKDS, and thanks for having me, GTA Ace.
One extra A, so close, but it's fine.
Yeah, no, I realized right after I said it, I was like, my God.
Don't worry, there's a
But
there's a
thanks.
running joke with Grand Pooh Bear, so don't worry. It all works out. Um,
Yeah.
but literally have traveled the world for Mario Kart DS then.
Yeah, after saying that just there, I realized, wow, I've actually been to pretty much every continent except North America to do MKDS, some sort of
Oh,
MKDS thing.
interesting.
So yeah, I have traveled quite a lot for this, and I was actually at TwitchCon over the weekend, and I signed, funnily enough, one of these
There you go.
a viewer I've encountered. So that was
Hmm.
pretty surreal, and yeah, Mario Kart DS is pretty much what I do almost exclusively on Twitch and like content creation wise and speedrunning wise.
Hmm.
So
So, 20 years almost.
yeah, 20 years. The game came out in 2005, November. I think I like turned 11, and I think yeah, I'll go back to the very beginning. Like I remember getting the trailer, seeing the trailer for this game in a DVD back then of a Nintendo magazine in the UK, and I just got so obsessed with it. And I would watch the trailer like over and over for months as like a 10 or 11-year-old. And yeah, I'd eventually get my hands on the game, realize it had like, Wi-Fi. It was the first Nintendo game to have Wi-Fi, so you can play people from across the world. So that was
Hmm.
so captivating to me. And yeah, I think at age 12, around I think August of 2007, I got my first world record for
Hmm.
one of the individual levels in time trial. And I've been at it ever since. I've taken like maybe a 4 to 5 year sort of semi hiatus because I was playing competitive Counter Strike, which turned out to be a waste. It was fun, but I've come back to it around the pandemic, and I've focused a lot on content creation and growing on Twitch and making videos, and I found out that it's still my passion, always has been, and I love meeting people through it and pushing the game and competing. So yeah, 20 years is a long time. A lot has happened, and my memory's so hazy about the whole thing. But I'm glad I'm still here, and I'm saying this on the eve, or not on the eve, but like days before the newest Mario Kart comes out. So we'll see what that's like.
Yes. If you're watching on YouTube when it comes out, this was recorded on Tuesday.
Oh yeah,
Well, for me. Well, for you too. It's not quite that late yet, but
yeah,
but yeah, when it comes out, the new game will have come out, so that'll be interesting.
yeah. So you can catch me probably streaming it as much as possible just to see where it takes us. And it certainly looks very, very interesting. Uh, a lot of people that I've spoken to, especially one guy, one competitive 8 Deluxe player who I spoke to, Van Tox. Some of you may know him, may not know him. Um, I've spoken to him over the weekend at TwitchCon, and he said he's played the game and it's got a lot of potential, and we'll see what happens. So I'm going to join in as well and play as much of it as I can. But MKDS is always going to be there. That's never going away. That game is like an illness for me, but it's a good illness. So yeah, um,
Everyone
that's where
has
I'm
their
at.
illness game.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you relate as well with SMB when you
I
tell people,
mean,
oh, it's like
yeah.
my illness, it's
Well, I
never
don't know
getting
if I
rid of it.
describe it that way, but
Well,
yes.
satirically, if anything.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know what you mean. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's an addiction for sure. You always remember your
Mm.
first, you know? It's a common
Yeah.
way of
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. And as for it being my first, right, this is the first game that I took seriously, competitively. And it's kind of good that I'm still here doing it. It's kind of like my first love,
Hmm.
and it still is. So yeah, quite happy I'm still here, really repping. It's
Hmm.
actually in its well, I did mention it. It's in its 20th year, so we've done a lot of merch and stuff, sort of commemorating it. Yeah.
That's fun. Do
Hmm.
you remember like what month of 2006 you started?
Oof.
Because I
So
I guess you're like
mm,
into the 20th year then, so it would have been like later in 2006 or earlier
yeah,
rather.
yeah. Just to yeah clarify, because I say very loosely, oh, I started in 2006, but in reality, the first timesheet that I completed, because this was before like RTA speedruns and speedrun.com and
Hmm.
speedruns live and all this stuff. Um, so the competition centered around either playing Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, so multiplayer, battle mode and stuff, and the time trials. So the time trials in the Mario Kart communities back then, and still to some degree today, are like core to the game. So I submitted my first timesheet of all the 32 tracks and the 3 laps and the fast laps for each one. I think it was precisely either the 2nd or the 1st of January 2007. So just to clarify that throughout 2006, as an 11, 12-year old, no, as an 11-year-old, sorry, I'd mostly lurk online and look at forums. And I still, at the time, had like a modem, like a cable modem. So I didn't have a wireless router to play Nintendo Wi-Fi connection against others. So yeah, mostly did a lot of lurking and a lot of like learning. And around the summer of '06, I got wireless internet so I could finally play Nintendo Wi-Fi. And yeah, I remember my first experience playing against a high caliber player was against, I think, either the second or number one ranked player in Italy. His name was Fabio Sacco, commonly known as a guy called Lee Boone online, and he's got scores in other games. I think Trackmania and like I think other like racing games. You can look him up on YouTube, Lee Boone, and and yeah, he did this technique where he would sort of snake on the off road on the first retro track in the game, SNES Mario Circuit 1, and he would boost across the off road, and I'd be like, how does he do this? And honestly, my memory is very, very hazy, very foggy as to what I did like 20 years ago or 19 years ago to find out how the hell is this guy so good? Is he like, does he have some online presence or something? And eventually I think I found a video of him playing against someone else, some American player. But anyway, I have too many like online Nintendo multiplayer stories. So yeah, but officially I started in January of 2007 competing on the leaderboards.
So they had leaderboards on like a website by then.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is a central hub for Mario Kart competition called the Mario Kart Players page. They've
Hmm.
got a sister site for each of the games. So there's one for Super Mario Kart and then Mario Kart 64 and so on. And I think the first one was Mario Kart 64, and it was uh, launched, I think, in 1997 by a guy, yeah, by a
Okay,
guy
so new
called
game comes out, they just throw it up there immediately. Okay.
yeah.
That
They
makes sense.
create a brand new website, and it's part of the Mario Kart 64.com domain. So the MKDS one is Mario Kart 64.com/MKDS, and that's where all the rankings are contained.
That
Um,
makes sense.
yeah, 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 yeah. So yeah, the website's been around for since I was what 3 or 4 years old, so it's crazy. Um, And yeah, I ended up getting my first world record in August of 2007, age 12. So that makes me feel very old now. Um, and and yeah, that's where it sort of centers around the competition. That's like the central hub.
Do you remember what that first one was?
The first world record.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Yoshi Falls Fast Lap. I think it was a
Oh.
tie. It was a world record tie with a Canadian player called Cole Gilbert, who's active in or was active in Mario Kart Wii. I think he had the world record for that in that game for Luigi Circuit for like I think it was close to a decade or 7 years or something. Incredible. So yeah, I had a Yoshi Falls Fast Lap 15.326 tied with him, and I got it sometime in August of that year. And I still remember dimly litting like making the room dim so I can record it on my like crappy digital camera to then take the SD card out and then put it on the computer and put it on YouTube. Which is like such a far cry to what we do nowadays, where we've got like capture right here, this
Mm-hmm.
little USB-C that you see on the actual hardware. So the technology's changed a lot for sure when it comes to like filming handhelds and Nintendo DS and 3DS and stuff. So
So yeah, you tied to the 1,000th place then because it has 3 decimals for their timers.
yeah. Yeah, it was a 15.326. So there's 3 decimals
Mm-hmm.
in DS. I think in 64 there's 2, and in Super Mario Kart there's 2. I'm not sure when they started having 3. It might have been in Double Dash for the GameCube.
So how does it? Because obviously, one frame is going to be slower than the accuracy of that. Does it like accurately figure out the decimal?
uh, I mean, I know the right person to answer this specific question. I'm I'm not too well versed on like the frame data or like um stuff like this relating to MKDS.
Okay.
Plus, there's a bunch of people in a TASing circle who would know a lot more about this. But like, um, if anything, there's such a thing. Yeah, it's like Rock M3000 is saying in the chat. It's what I was about to say. There's a thing called the lap timer bug in the game. So the decimals can vary depending on your distance between the finish line, something along those lines. I haven't pushed records to the point where stuff like that will matter. Um, so I haven't. I mean, it would only matter on tracks like Baby Park and uh, probably Yoshi Falls Fast Lap as well. But I haven't gotten to the level that flap is at nowadays, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Because I think that's how
mm,
Mario Kart Wii does it. Is like, yeah, on the frame you like touch the finish line, how far the card is, or whatever.
yeah,
But I don't know
yeah,
how each game does that.
yeah. The thing with Mario Kart Wii though is that the runs in each rank throughout the ranking, they're so close and tied together. They can be separated by like 3-4 milliseconds each.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because of how do I word this? Like the game, like the tech in the game. It's like you
Mm-hmm.
mini turbo around the corner and then you wheelie and then you sort of spam the D-pad to keep the wheelie momentum going. Um, and so at a high level, the runs are going to be extremely close to each other in between the rankings. And in MKDS, it's gotten more like that as the years have gone by, but I think there's still it's so difficult to articulate, but it's there's still like a lot of I don't know how to say it honestly. But I think people might know what I mean with the difference between a game like MKWii and MKDS. Like with MKDS, you've got like more sort of swerving left right movement, and with MKWii, it's more like it's the game, even at a high level, is like on rails. Like the ghosts, you racing a ghost is going to be so close together, whereas in MKDS, it it's not as much like that.
Hmm.
Mm.
More variance and
Yeah,
yeah.
you could say there's more variance. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
It's just if my point was if it is accurate to the thousandth place with some whatever calculation, that's got to be really hard to tie to that exact decimal, regardless of
Yeah.
the quickness of the lab. But still,
Yeah. Yeah. But for some reason, ties in this game are more common than people think, and for some reason, at world record level, it's been quite common and quite common occurrence.
fair.
Mm.
Just seems less likely, especially back then. So funny how that worked out.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't remember any other world record ties back then, to be honest. So it was, if you could say, it was kind of a freak occurrence.
So I know like some games that have Wi-Fi, they have their own in-game leaderboards. Um, is that anything to go off of, or is it usually pretty inaccurate? And I don't know if Mario Kart DS even had that. I don't remember. I know Mario Kart Wii did.
Yeah, Mario Kart Wii was the first one to have in-game
Okay,
leaderboards.
so I see.
It would only track the 3 laps, the total times, so it wouldn't track fast laps.
Okay.
So, um, but yeah, Mario Kart DS didn't have that. It just strictly had a very. If you look at it now, it's it's almost like a beta test type thing because it was only 4 players. Obviously, this hardware from 2004, it's quite limited, and also that's my face, a sticker there at the back. A Japanese player made for me, but yeah, it's very old hardware, over 20 years old. There's memory limitations and stuff like that. So that wasn't possible. But in Mario Kart Wii, you could track the 3 laps, but the fast laps are tracked online using the world record website. And sadly, from that game onwards, for some reason, the fast laps have sort of been not taken as seriously, or like the culture of the scene has shifted so that um, fast laps aren't talked about that much, which I think is very sad. But things change over time, and there's not a lot that you can do really.
I mean, they're still kept track of all the same, right?
Yeah, yeah, they keep track of them. I mean, if you look at, for example, the latest edition, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I don't think they keep track of them at all.
Oh, do they not?
Um,
Hmm.
and not that I'm aware of. Maybe some guy does it with a spreadsheet somewhere in some Discord, but apart from that, no, not really. Not that I'm aware of. No.
I just knew if beat your, I guess, flap is what it's abbreviated to, but it would always,
Yeah.
highlight that lap like, ooh, best time. So
Mm.
does it really not anymore?
In 8 Deluxe, I'm not sure actually, because I'm not I'm
Yeah.
not specialist in that game.
I
But
mean, I'll be real. When I play Mario Kart games, it's not for time trials, so I'm not the one to
fair enough.
ask.
Fair enough. You're gonna
I'm the
be
one
able to
to
take.
ask, or to ask the question, not answer
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, look,
it.
soon this is gonna turn into a game where you can free roam and take a picture with a cow or your friends, or it's the
Who knows
formula
what
of
the
the
hell they're
game is.
doing anymore?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
The
yeah, yeah. What I'm
speedrunning scene
excited.
for this new game is going to be fascinating.
Yeah, I intend to dabble a bit and play around with it. Um, being someone who's like had a huge focus on sort of the MKDS RTA scene, getting people to play 32 tracks and all missions and having the world records for both those. I'm definitely interested in having a good go at this new game and see what it feels like. So
Mhm.
whatever categories sort of spawn, like destroy all cows or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay. The important categories, clearly. Um,
Yeah,
I do find
yeah.
it interesting that when a new game comes out, which right now is quite rare, but
Mm.
happens to be in a few days, like people from all around, like every game specialist still comes together for the new one to try it, even though again they're so
Yes,
different.
Yes, and it's a nice sort of joyous celebration of new Mario Kart game. Let's I'm gonna get day one world record, and it's gonna be great. Or for 3 minutes I'll have world record. Um, so you'd see everybody sort of congregating, getting the world records, and just playing the game, really playing through it. But like, I predict that in like maybe 3 months, 6 months, there'll be a lot of people returning to their respective games, maybe in less time. I've seen it happen all the time. I don't know if you can relate to some degree with some of the 2D Mario games, if anything. I don't know.
Um, I guess I've kind of seen it. I don't really participate. When a new game comes out, I want to like beat it proper before ever consider. And I don't really speedrun modern games anyway, so I can't really relate. But I definitely know people that take part in the chase for day one stuff. Hell, I know people
Mm.
that would like obtain the game a little early to get a head start. And at that point
Yeah,
we're getting a little too intense, but
yeah. No,
competition
I
is
totally get you.
competition, I suppose.
But some people are desperate, and that's I don't blame them. You never know what having a world record or something, doing something first can do for you, like in the online world. Like
Yeah.
it could like kickstart some sort of it brings awareness to you, brand awareness, and all that stuff. So I'm thinking of it in like marketing terms. I think, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really tried viewing stuff in that way, but I suppose it
Mm.
is a little
Yeah.
a
Don't get me
battle.
the wrong. Don't take me the wrong. Don't take it the wrong way. I'm seeing it from that angle, but at the same time, like I always say this to everybody, and I say this to my stream. You know, if you're playing something or if you're competitive in whatever it is, you got to make sure you're having fun, and I'm sure you relate,
Hmm.
and everybody that is sensible relates. You got to have fun first and foremost, or else you cannot force some kind of competition, or it just won't be enjoyable at all. So
Hmm.
first rule is have fun.
That
So
is the main takeaway for any sort of gaming
yeah,
competition.
yeah, not just Mario Kart, but and Mario Kart can get heated. In fact, I
Oh
read
yes.
that some IRL friend of mine sent me a link. You might have seen this maybe, saying that study conducted that Mario Kart is the greatest. Um, it's the game that raises your blood pressure the most, or raises your likelihood of a heart attack. I'm like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, but I don't know if that's true, but it's probably not.
Well, I'm glad I'm not top
Yeah,
level competition at Mario Kart then. Although, yeah, even when playing against CPUs, it it does do something. So
yeah.
maybe there's something to it.
CPUs and their rubber banding.
Hmm.
I'm telling you, it
And
gets worse
they
every
always
time.
get the best items. God, fuck those guys.
Yeah, speaking of items, I had a clip that got like a few thousand likes on Twitter the other day or a week ago. I had I've never had this kind of RNG before. There was three blue shells in the last lap of one of the races in I think 18 seconds or 20 seconds, and the clip just blew up. Like it's I can show it to you later on, but it's on my Twitter. It's just like it's insulting in the middle of a run.
Gotta
But
love
anyhow,
that.
it happens. It happens.
Yeah, just prepare to be stuck for 20 seconds. It's my
No,
favorite.
actually, I dodged them all. Actually, I didn't
Oh,
mention that.
great.
I
Okay.
actually dodged them all.
I forget which games
So
you can like realistically dodge blue shells and not. I know like Mario Kart Wii, you have to like use a mushroom, perfect timing shenanigans or something. But I guess with DS's snaking, yeah, okay, I can see it.
yeah, so in DS you can dodge them with a mini turbo.
Mm.
It's it's one of the main things that has made the game quite famous. It's that
Oh,
game where you can
that's a
dodge the blue
feature.
shells.
Okay, I actually didn't know that.
Oh no, if you mean if it's I'm not saying it's developer intended.
Oh, is okay.
It's it just so happens that the boost that the mini turbo gives you allows you to sort of boost away from the impact zone. I don't think it was intended.
Oh,
Like, I'm
okay.
99% sure. Um, but
Fair
as
enough.
far as I know, it might be the only Mario Kart game where you can dodge with a drift or a mini turbo.
Mm-hmm.
So 8 Deluxe, I think you need to use a mushroom to dodge the blue shell.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's
Mm.
that way for Wii, which is what I was familiar with.
Yeah,
But yeah,
some
wow.
I can't tell you for sure. I can't remember. I actually used to play Mario Kart Wii in the early days when it came out, and like I had a few times in like the in-game rankings for regional, and I
Mm-hmm.
think maybe I had one top 10 in the worldwide one time that was top 10 worldwide in like 2008. But other than that, the game really didn't. It was so different.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't appeal for me at the time. I think a lot of us MKDS players migrating onto that game in April of 2008, which I think was when it came out. Uh, we were really disappointed with the mini turbo system
Mm.
because like Nintendo definitely took note of the fact that people were complaining about snaking, the core mechanic in MKDS, which I should have mentioned probably 10 minutes ago. Do you know much about snaking?
I have an idea of how it works. Just if you keep doing mini turbos, you never lose that speed boost, essentially.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So in a way, a lot of people see it as broken, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as someone who's been playing the game like that since almost the beginning, playing normally, like playing well normally with no going in a straight line, just it's so slow and boring. So when Nintendo caught up to the fact that Mario Kart DS Online, there were a lot of people snaking, and others were playing it more casually, and some complaints were going to be raised. It was inevitable. So they, from what we could see, they decided to dumb down the mini turbo mechanic, and so make it so that you cannot. I can demonstrate. Do the left, right, left, right, left, right on the D-pad to charge
Mm-hmm.
mini turbos. So whereas in Mario Kart Wii, they're automatically charged depending how
Yeah.
long you're drifting. So that was disappointing, but it spawned a different kind of a new generation of Mario Kart, a different kind of player, a new kind of play style, and its own tech. So that's good. But
Mm-hmm.
it's a completely different game. It changed, like the series changed pretty much forever since
Yeah.
that game released.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know Mario Kart 64 had a similar uh mini turbo mechanic, the left right movement. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah. You,
I'm
you
not
were
too familiar
mentioning
with the
that.
other ones, but
Yeah, yeah, and MK64. Yeah, it's similar. The one that probably comes closest is Double Dash. I think that one is probably top two in terms of skill ceiling.
mm. Does that do
Excuse
the
me.
left right as well?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
it's
That's the only Mario Kart I've
almost.
never owned, so I don't know much about it.
Oh, right. I see.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Yeah, it's definitely top two, top three in terms of skill ceiling for time trials, and really, really impressive to watch, and yeah, difficult,
Mm-hmm.
very difficult to master for sure.
So they really did keep that left right mini turbo mechanic until we
Yeah.
never really put that
That
together, I guess.
Yeah, I mean they decided to scrap it, seeing as a lot of people were probably pissed off when they went online and they were like, "Why am I losing?" There's a guy just doing this left, right in front of them, going, in front of them. So yeah, that's my conclusion on that.
Yeah, I do say it is a bit cheat cheap cheating kind of, but speedrunner I like when speedrunners break the game, so it all works out. But
Yeah,
from a
I
casual perspective, I do understand why they
uh,
changed it.
no, of course I do. Of course I do. And the franchise grew even more. The popularity of Mario Kart Wii just,
Mm-hmm.
the games went to another level, and
That's
it made
certainly the
sense.
mini turbo mechanic I'm used to, is not having to break my thumb left and right.
No, yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, of course, of course. People are gonna. are gonna find it exhausting. And the amount of comments I get pretty much daily on some of my videos of like, wow, this guy has accelerated arthritis. This guy, if I
Yep.
do this, my thumb breaks and stuff. And as someone who's been doing it since a very young age, I do not feel any pain. I only have a callus on my thumb, but I don't really feel anything. But I don't really know what I was going with this. But
I will
mm.
say it would have been really funny if it did work the same way Market Wii because it was built around motion controls. So people are just trying to motion control their mini turbo.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
no, because with the wheel, you would have to do this to get the tricks,
yeah,
right?
the
And
relead
then
and the
with the
tricks, yeah.
yeah, the nunchuck and the Wiimote, you do this to sort of you'd flick your wrist to get the trick as
Hmm.
well.
Yeah.
So imagine that. Imagine manual mini turbos and that you would get not only arthritis, but you'd damage your
Yeah, your
wrists from
wrist
doing
just
this all the time.
shaking it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
that's probably why they changed it. No, they love the snaking mechanic, but just for motion controls they had to do it. Oh well.
Look, just one more thing to mention, right? The staff ghost, in one of the tracks, Snare's Donut Plains 1, if you watch it back, it snakes. So
Really?
the developers were doing it. Well,
Interesting.
it wasn't perfect, but you
Mm,
could see that the guy is abusing mini turbo, so effectively is snaking. So
mm.
this is something that's sort of been a meme in our community for a long time. They removed the snaking or the ease of being able to do snaking in future games. Yet they themselves are doing it. And I think it was for another track as well. It might have been Cooper Beach too. I can't remember. But anyway, it's one of those things.
Interesting.
Mm.
The conspiracy runs deep.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of conspiracies, we
Uh-oh.
have so many. I have to get round to making an MKDS like iceberg
Mm.
thing with all the different things. So you just reminded me there. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah.
Happy to help.
Mm.
Yes, iceberg videos, people love them. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I get partially inspired from the the Mario 64 conspiracy stuff since I love watching Mario 64.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of that.
Mm.
Well, I guess to go back on track in kind of the timeline sense, I don't really know where we left off, or
I think the last thing I mentioned was that I properly started submitting times to
mm-hmm.
the competitive website in 2007, and I had my first world record in August of that year. My first tied world record. If you'd like, I can sort of
Yeah,
give a brief timeline of those sort of early years, if anything.
sure.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I carried on playing as an early teenager, sort of blend of playing time trials offline and doing Wi-Fi battles online against players, and it was super exciting because it was such an active period of it was such a multi it's a cliche to say multicultural, but it was. You got players from
Yeah, it's a
Japan,
worldwide
got
thing.
players from America. It's completely worldwide, right?
Every human being loves
And
Mario.
well, yeah, of course,
It works.
and and we would all still use forums back then, um, and MSN. I'm not sure if you've ever used MSN back then, but we'd use MSN a lot to sort of gather and interact with each other. And
My
what?
work email is an MSN.
Oh wow. Okay, so
It's not my.
that's old.
To clarify, it's not my email. It's just the email. It's my boss's email that I have to use. But yeah,
Oh, gotcha,
it's an
gotcha.
MSN domain.
Whoa. Okay, so that's early 2000s then.
I guess. I'm sure they've
Yeah.
updated it quite a bit since, probably. But yeah.
Mm, yeah. Probably. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, so 2008. Obviously, there was a slight bump, not bump, but like Mario Kart Wii came out, so a lot of the players migrated over, started playing it. Even I did. but I didn't like it too much, so I would still mostly play MKDS, so a blend of both games throughout the next, I think, year or two, and then after like 2009, 2010, I didn't really play MKWe after that. So yeah, I slowly started getting world records and would eventually become world champion very, very briefly in 2010 at the age of 15. So next to you might know the name Tiger by now from Mario Kart DS. Maybe the name Tiger rings a bell from the
Well,
Summoning Salt
yeah,
video.
yeah, that's where it rings
Young
a bell
Japanese
from.
player.
Hmm.
Yeah, he apart from him being the youngest champ, I'm probably the youngest champ after him in probably a lot of the Mario Kart games. I think I was only 15. Um, so MK Dasher, who's in the chat right now in your chat, he and I would compete very, very closely during that period, along with a guy called Thomas Bolton from
Hmm.
Switzerland. And we had such a drive to knock this Thomas guy off his because he was the world champion at the time,
Hmm.
to knock him off his number one spot because he was like dominating. He had at one point, I think, 50 out of the 64 possible world records, like such a
Wow.
stronghold.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, you
And
you think about like the Matthias Dan Mario Kart 64 32, but yeah, Mario Kart DS was the first game
oh
to have
yeah,
double the tracks because it was the first game to have retros. So that's so
yeah,
many more records.
yes, but I think Super Circuit had retros for the Game Boy
Oh
Advance.
yeah,
I think.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
I don't know
Super
if
Circuit has the entirety of Super Mario Kart in it,
that's right. Yeah, that's
something
right.
like that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So I'm technically wrong. Actually, that game would have more then because that's what
yeah.
80,
Dasher's just saying
I
that
think, because
uh
20 times 2 times 2. Yeah.
yeah, something like that probably. I
I
have no
think
idea.
because yeah, there were 20 tracks and then the 20 SNES and then
Mm.
right? Yeah, and then flap in 3 lap. My god.
Yeah,
Never
something
mind.
along yeah, something along those lines. But I'm really that's like the Mario Kart I know least about,
Yeah.
and
So
it's the
that had
one
the
that's
most potential for world records until 8 Deluxe or 8 and then 8 Deluxe. But yeah.
yeah, I think
Interesting.
so. I think so. Anyway, where was I?
World championship.
So
Actually, can I ask a question because
yeah, of course.
I
Yeah,
want to know how is the world champion like defined, I guess.
good question. So we've got a thing called average finish on the rankings, and it goes across all the different Mario Kart websites. It's the average. It's like a point system that's calculated based on ranking. So combining all like a full timesheet together. So I have 64 out of 64 times submitted, um, and all of them are number one. Let's say
Hmm.
I would have therefore an AF of one, right? And if they were all three, that would have an AF of three. So you get what I mean. It's like the average calculation
Yeah.
of all the rankings.
And then you have the highest
Um,
number then to be the world champion. Or the
yes,
lowest
exactly.
number in
So
this
sorry,
case, but
the
yeah.
exactly the lowest. So the lower
Hmm.
the lower your AF, the higher your placing is.
So it's
So I
determined
think
on your place in each leaderboard
yeah, it's
specifically.
determined
Okay.
on your placing for every fast lap and every 3 lap put
Okay.
together.
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then there's separate leaderboards like shortcut leaderboards
Hmm.
and non-shortcut and non-PRB, and that's another thing. PRB is another technique that's like if snaking's here, then PRB is like up here, and it's basically um, when you maintain the perfect rocket momentum, perfect rocket start from the beginning of the race.
Hmm.
You maintain that through chains of mini turbos, and you can basically glide through the off road, whether it's sand or grass or whatever it is, at top speed. So you have no slowdown penalty. So if you maintain the mini turboing nonstop, you'll just glide through the whole track, basically. So all the world records, basically, with off road, take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And there's leaderboards where you don't do that, and there's leaderboards where you do that.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, we're competing during that period. We're young teenagers, and I Thomas Bolton was champion since 2007, I believe. Controversially, might
Mhm.
I add. You've probably watched the Summoning Salt
Yes.
video for full context on that.
Mhm.
Um, and I was the first person to topple him in 3 years. So that's something that to this day I'm like, I look back with great pride because, I
That's a
was a
lot of work. That's for sure.
I was a kid, and the amount I played was not, you know, the amount of time I had on my hands back then, and to still do school and all that was
Mhm.
like I would play a minimum of 4 hours a day
Oh my
after
god.
school. Sometimes I would like, my parents would, take my DS from me and hide it, and I'd have to like I sometimes would just take it back, like find it wherever it is in the house when they're out shopping or whatever for groceries. I'd find it and play more. So I was very sneaky in that sense, and yeah,
The
I
hurdles
so
we have to
I
jump for speedrunning sometimes.
honestly, I'm sure a lot of everybody can relate with people having their routers being taken away, or like their chargers or controllers or cartridges or whatever. I'm sure. But yeah, around 2010 was a good year. I toppled him, became world champion, very, very briefly, and then MK Dasher succeeded me, and has been probably probably the game's greatest ever player. I'd say that's the big badge of honor that everybody gives him, because he's been there since he started out as a specialist on Rainbow Road, and he
Mm.
worked his way to the top, and he's hit world records on and off till since until around, I think maybe his last one may have been 2024 or 2023. He can probably confirm in the chat. So he's been in the scene pretty much as long as I have. Maybe I've been maybe 2 years longer than he has, but anyway, so he became world champion, and it's been a sort of back and forth between me, him, Thomas, Japanese players wrestling for world records on individual tracks, and yeah, played for a few more solid years until around 2014, 2015. And between that year and I think 2019, I sort of lost interest in the game. I played competitive Counter-Strike, and I just focused on university. And I don't know, like a spark came back to me just before the pandemic, and I was like, I want to make a documentary, and I made a documentary. It's called MKDS 2021, and it's on my YouTube channel, and it basically chronicles everything that I'm talking about, pretty much. And it sort of centers around MK Dash's story in the game. And yeah, in 2020-ish onwards, I've decided to sort of expand my niche in this game and be like, what else can I do in MKDS apart from just time trials that people can find appealing, I can make content around. And I
So
realized that,
for
sorry,
all
you,
those early years, it was just exclusively time trials.
yeah, that's
Wow.
pretty much what it revolved around, like
Hmm.
beating your fastest 3 lap or fast lap on a given track. um and also just doing there was like a subculture of Wi-Fi players um that would, that I would hop on and play
Yeah.
against.
Okay.
And still to this day, there's still a handful of us still playing online, even though it sucks because it's not as accessible to any newcomers, because you need a web enabled router. You
Mm.
can't use any of the newer routers because
Yes.
the encryption doesn't work on these machines.
Hmm.
So it's a bit difficult for accessibility, but we make it work. We make it work. And yeah, just to carry on, I in the last 5 years or so, I found my niche in RTA speedruns. So I realized, hey, there's people that do 32 track speedruns. Like I've known about speed running for ages in other games. I would watch Super Mario 64, Super Mario Brothers, of course, with uh I'd watch Andrew G
Yeah.
a lot and a few others. And so I thought, why don't I try this? Because I had a DS capture card, so I might as well try and stream it and try and get the world record there because I'm, fairly competent player and uh and I got the world record fairly quickly, and I've had it pretty much ever since, with the exception of one time that a Japanese player took it from me. And yeah, it's just been a blend of that and RTA with the 32 track speedruns and the all mission category as well, which I was fortunate enough to run at ESA, uh, ran remotely at a GDQ last summer, and I even was very fortunate to run at a Japanese event in RTA in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been pretty much my journey up until now, and I can go into more specifics, but I'm sure I'll go into like deep, deep, deep tangents. But
Yeah. It's
more or
what we
less,
do
yeah.
here, but
Mm.
I will say so. The first run was all just time trials, and then the like COVID era second run is like just RTA focused.
Yeah, second era was sort of art focus of RTA and individual levels. So
Do you
the
still
individual
do time trials?
yeah, yeah. I still do. Whenever I feel like playing a track, I just go and play it. There's people that focus a lot on their timesheet and be like, "Oh, I got to improve this time because it's poorly ranked. I got to go this one." Da, da, da." I I get that
Mm-hmm.
because that you're looking at it objectively. How do I cut more spots and stuff? But I can't force myself to play fucking Rainbow Road or one of these. You know,
Yeah.
I just play whichever track I find fun and just enjoy the game for what it is. So it's been a blend of that and doing the RTA speed runs. Um, yeah, essentially that.
Mm-hmm. So I will go into more detail about the RTA stuff. So the 32 tracks, I assume this is done in not Grand Prix mode because, well, I say that like I haven't watched it, but for the audience,
Yeah,
it's not in
yeah,
Grand
yeah,
Prix
yeah.
mode. It's you set up because this was the first game to have verses or whatever. That's what it's called,
I
right?
think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I
And
don't remember Double Dash, or maybe it did, but
I know Double Dash had
no.
like a all cup tour after you beat all
Oh
the Grand Prix, but
yeah,
that's
yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know if you could like change all the settings, like you can choose your bots and their difficulty and items and
That's correct.
class
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
that.
yeah. Yeah. The one thing they didn't do, which I would have liked them to have done, was to disable the items. That's
Yep.
all they needed to do. They would have made the game so much more perfect. Because
They have no
we
item
made
disability. Wow, I actually didn't know that.
no
That's
in
crazy.
MKDS you can't disable the items. Sadly, you can set the
Ridiculous.
difficulty. You can set the CC in VS mode. You can set how many races. Like if you want to do 18 races in a row randomly,
Mm-hmm.
you can do that. But sadly, no item disability.
Got it.
So we have to create a separate ROM hack for that, where we literally go into a toolbox editor thing and like delete all the item boxes from each track, which is so stupid. But that's how it is. That's how we do
Wow.
no item runs. Well, me and like two other guys who do it. um, so yeah, it's the 32 tracks run. It's essentially in the name. You play every track from start to finish with the CPUs. I've always set them to hard mode, but I think a year and a half ago there was a rule change allowing you to use easy mode. And fair enough. I just kept using hard mode just because I like the challenge and it's fun for the viewership. Um, and up until recently, like my PB/world records are 52:14, and I'm chasing a 51 right now.
Hmm.
The RNG is insanely brutal
Hmm.
in 32 tracks, where you need to basically pray that you do not get lightning shocked. You get minimal red shells, blue shells, etc., etc. And the run just basically has to fall from the sky. It just has to happen, right? For 50 odd minutes. So lately, I've been sort of tempted to be like, should I play on easy, or are people going to think that I'm, cheating it again? but but yeah, that's what I've been attempting lately. So that's 32 tracks and the all missions. That's the thing I didn't talk about actually.
Hmm.
Really cool thing about this game, right? Is that it's the first one to have some kind of challenge mode slash mission mode. Like, have you played
It's
Mario
the only
Kart
one
DS?
with mission mode. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I've played plenty of Mario Kart
Yeah.
DS.
Oh, okay, good. Um, so yeah, the mission mode is really really cool in that its aim is to teach you core mechanics without it really telling you. It's like, collect or like destroy the molds that are popping out. That teaches you aiming with green shells. Um, beat Yoshi in this race. That teaches you how to, like, drive as fast as you can, use mini turbos, blah blah. And then there's missions where you have to go through gates. It's very objective based,
Hmm.
which is good, and it teaches you the core mechanics of how to drive and play the game. So I think it's a very, very cool mode, and it's very underrated. And I think it's very sad that it hasn't really come back fully. At least it doesn't look like it's coming back in the new game. Um,
They well, they have some
there's
like open world shenanigans, but I don't know if it teaches you anything.
yeah, we'll see what it's like. We'll
Yeah,
see
we'll
what
see.
it's like. But hmm. So yeah, there's the all mission speed run for that, which I ran at ESA Winter last year. That was really, really cool. And that clocks in at 36:56 now, which I got around a couple weeks ago. So I sub 37, and I'm done with that category. I'm done.
Mm.
It's a very very rough, very tough category to do. And so those are the two main categories for RTA in MKDS. There's other stuff that I do, like beating the Grand Prix um, with the fastest in-game time possible. I've got
Hmm.
the world records for that as well, and yeah, that's sort of what's gone on in RTA.
I see. So the 32 tracks is all in order. So you set it to like in order. You start from Mushroom and do all DS and then all retro,
Yes,
and then
yes,
yeah, items.
yeah, correct.
The leaderboards aren't separated by difficulty, are they? So technically, you could do easy mode if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I was actually talking to someone about this. I think they should be separated, but I mean,
Well, at the very least,
it's
there, you can set like a filter for it.
yeah, yeah. The thing is, though, the the RNG is essentially the same across all difficulties. However, the CPUs drive slower
Hmm.
in easy. So you could argue that for some tracks, it's actually harder to drive,
Hmm.
and I'll explain why. The CPUs, when you collide with them, they bump you around. Like hitting a Bowser in eighth place when you're lapping them is a death sentence. Because if you're on Rainbow Road and you get
You're
hit
off the
by him,
track. Yeah.
you're off the track, right? So in some cases, it is actually, you could make the argument that it is better to play on hard.
Hmm.
But the rubber banding is pretty bad on hard. So I've been trying a bit of easy mode just to see what it's like, and I think, in a lot of ways, it's still almost as tough.
Now medium.
So, yeah, I guess I'll try medium now and see what if that's the sweet spot. Yeah,
Maybe just accidentally
I'll see that.
Goldilocks it, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah, 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 yeah. Also, one thing I'd like to add that's completely separate. This game, for whatever reason, they thought it was clever to add action replay camera angles. I don't know if you remember this, when you would do a time trial and then you'd press start and hit replay. Do you remember this by any chance?
Um, you like it'd be cinematic or
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. It'd be cinematic, and you wouldn't get an option to see the replay from a live
Yeah,
perspective,
okay,
right?
yeah. I knew like Mario Kart 7 was like that, and you had to like go into first person mode or whatever to watch time trials.
Yeah, when I saw this for the first time, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" But
I I
we,
guess I didn't
we've
realize it was in DS as well.
yeah. In the early days, it made it really, really difficult to analyze runs from other players and be like, "Okay, does he do that mini turbo there? How's he driving that there? Does he lose time here?" So thankfully, a Japanese player by the name of B Dash, shout out, wherever he is, because I love that guy, and he created an action replay code. Let me show you. I've still got the cartridge here, which has been chewed by my dog.
Nice.
This is an action replay, and you could load up any cheat code
Hmm.
onto the DS cartridge, original DS cartridge. So he created an action replay code that would basically change the camera position
Hmm.
and make it um, replay back ghost data, the saved ghost data, anytime. So that changed everything for our scene because we can actually see, like this is how this guy mini turbos, this is how he races, and it's way better because back before that, the best you were getting were either like Logitech webcam 10 FPS videos
Hmm.
on YouTube, or some guy like you would prop your webcam on your shoulder and play like this.
Oh
That's how
my
it was.
god.
That's how those days were, and we've got it good now. Like we've come. It took us 20 years to get here, but yeah. So I just wanted to credit that guy for that because without that action replay code and without the technology we have nowadays, the game would be stuck in the Stone Age pretty much. Mm.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you could relate with like all the enhancements that Super Mario Brothers has now, and like because uh, I like I haven't been to your stream all that much. I'm aware that you're a top runner, but for example, I would go to
Hmm.
Lekuki's stream, and he's clearly using a practice ROM on real
Oh
hardware
yeah, yeah.
for Super
Everyone
Mario
uses
Brothers.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah, and
speak from I
obviously,
remember like the original practice ROMs in the evolution until the more current ones. Um,
yeah,
but
no,
I mean,
of course,
we've had it pretty good where, it's pretty easy to find good footage and all that. But yeah, the
yeah,
more in-depth mechanics like sub pixels, sub speed,
mm,
annoying values that you like have to know of now. Practice
mm.
ROMs are very crucial for top level.
It looks aggravating. Like I don't know what the record's at now. Is it a 454
Yeah,
something?
.5.
Wow. So I
Mm-hmm.
remember when I know we're getting off topic here with MKDS, but I remember when that subbed 5. I was like, wow, Super Mario
Really?
Brothers
Wow.
sub 5, crazy. I can't remember when it was exactly, but yeah, I still remember that happening. Um,
Yeah.
but
I
but
got
yeah, anyway,
I got like 10 458s yesterday. Like it's not too bad.
now it's happening like every day. Somebody
Hmm.
sets a 450 something.
Yeah.
Uh,
We have a
yeah,
tournament. The reason actually I'm doing this live in advance is because this Sunday I'll be at a giant Mario 1 speedrunning tournament. And like
whoa,
I'm sure every race will have like a 458 in it. And there'll be like tens upon
wow.
tens.
I need to tune in for sure. Best
Hmm.
of luck.
It'll be interesting. It's the biggest Mario 1 tournament ever. So that'll be fascinating. It's 3 days at a con. Like,
Holy shit.
yeah.
Whoa, whoa. Yeah, I need to tune into that for sure. How many people are running at the same time? Is that many
At the
or?
same time, I think seven. They have seven
Oh,
setups.
okay.
But
Okay.
in terms of people there, I think there's over 20 people.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Damn.
it's with the tech flippity dibbity. He does like all the racers on the one screen, pulling the data from all the consoles.
That's what I was going to precisely mention because I
Yes.
saw a video of that and I was like, this is fucking nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, no, but anyway, going back to the cartridges and stuff. I just want to mention I have one of these as well, so I know what
uh,
it's like to have a practice ROM and stuff. But sadly, we do not have one for MKDS yet because of the DS's memory limitations.
mm,
So we can't. Well, we can have one, but we cannot load save states,
mm.
like save and load save states because of that. So we'd have to maybe play on 3DS, if anything, and not everybody plays on 3DS. In fact, this is something I probably should have explained. There are obviously different DSs.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people that play on original DS, like myself and most of the old school players, and some newer players even. Then there's a group of players who play on a DSi,
Mm-hmm.
others that play on 3DS, and so on. So it really, like this one here with the classic D-pad has been the standard for so long because it's so durable and sturdy, and they're relatively cheap to get. And obviously the screens are not great, but yeah, definitely stay away from DS Lites though.
Oh,
DS Lites because they're very clicky,
I see. More
very
of a
clicky,
preference
and
thing.
not as durable. Yeah,
I see.
and they're smaller as well. But anyway, people have their preferences and they play on whatever system they want. That being said, the bad thing about playing on hardware is that not everybody will have access to capture because
Yeah.
you need to, if you want to play in real time and stream and stuff, there's all these technical limitations in so that you need to purchase a USB video capture board and install it and stuff, and not everybody can do that.
Yeah,
So there's
that's a mess.
people, yeah, that's one of the things that's held back our community, I feel.
Mm.
But at the same time, you can play the RTA categories on emulator. It is possible.
Mm.
There's slight input delay, but it's still, that's how I started out before I got capture on my main DS.
Mm.
Like around 2021, it was like, okay, this is fine. I can play on controller. It's actually pretty cool. However, the use of emulation is banned for time trials.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
I feel like it's been that
Logically,
way for every Mario Kart. So.
yeah. No, yeah, of course.
Mm.
I mean, I think there's one game where they allow it. As a matter of
Oh,
fact, I
just
can't
one.
remember which
Interesting.
one.
Hmm.
I can't. I'm trying to think. It might be Super Mario Kart. I might be completely wrong, or Double Dash. I know for sure there's one player's page that allows emulation for whatever reason,
Hmm.
which I don't think it should be allowed.
Maybe it's like an ease of
Yeah.
access thing or something. But who knows?
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, in then again, in every single game that you run on the computer,
Yeah.
you can save state. You know, you can cheat basically.
Well, yeah.
I think so.
Well, I don't know. So because there's so many DSs, do any of them provide like a hardware advantage, or do they all run the game the same way?
They run the game the same,
Okay.
pretty much. The 3DS XL maybe has slightly faster loading times or anything,
Hmm.
and it depends on also whether you're running on original cartridge or on a flash cart.
Mm. Okay.
Flash carts have slightly faster loading times, and there's no rule against not using them.
Hmm.
But in terms of using which console to use, there's no difference. There's no advantage when racing. So anybody could use whichever one they'd like. It's all down to preference.
I see.
There's been this actually before I move on. There's been this brief debate when we discovered Tiger, this young Japanese player back in 2020, as to whether D-pad or C-pad is better because he played on a
Mm,
C-pad. This was like the defining characteristic of his. Like this kid, he's playing on the circle pad. Like what? And
interesting.
we thought like, does he have like an extra? Does he have some sort of advantage with the axis of the way he moves his thumbs? Like I don't know. So that's what we wondered for some time, but we saw that MK Dasher, who plays on the same console I do, has been keeping up with him more or less all this time. So I don't think one or the other has an advantage really. Again, it's just down to preference, in my opinion, at
Okay.
least.
Yeah, I know most like 3DS's boot into DS games, like I think on the hardware level, like so it essentially just it becomes a DS instead of a 3DS. So I didn't know if like because it is technically more powerful, it would like run games faster and that could be beneficial. Because when you get into RTA, like you're gonna want the fastest version. So
Yes, yes. If anything to note, the Japanese version, and this is so funny. The Japanese version, in between track loads, is 1 frame quicker
so crucial.
compared to it. That's what I mean. That's why I do it. That's why I use it.
Yeah,
Like any
exactly.
any sensible speedrunner.
Mm-hmm.
And the European version in between loads is the slowest by far.
Mm.
For again, always Europe being slow. It's
Mm-hmm.
don't know why, but
Pal is not your pal.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So the Japanese version is exactly 1 frame quicker compared to the NTSC U version.
Mhm. That actually brings up a question. Because I know Mario Kart 64 is an example. You can play in PAL and NTSC, and the times are
Oh
different
yeah.
because of how they, run the game. So they have to like combine the leaderboards and change the times. Does a
Mm.
DS have to suffer that something like that?
Thankfully not, no.
Yeah. Okay.
I what when I was a teenager and I encountered the whole like I would find a Mario Kart 64 time trials video that would say like I don't know KBT 3 lap 120 whatever and then in brackets no PAL and then in like it would say PAL and then in brackets NTSC 110. I'm like
Mm-hmm.
what? And no, thankfully we don't have to deal with any of that stuff. There's no like signal conversion or anything like that
Yeah,
because,
I guess it would make sense why there wouldn't be because it's more of like a TV thing. But
exactly.
yeah, I didn't know if for some stupid reason there would still have to be for the DS, but
No, no, no.
thankfully not. It
Thankfully
sounds
not.
like yeah.
No, no, no. But we still like to because we're so cool, right? I like to still be like, "Oh, I play on the NTSC J version."
Mm.
Okay? Even though it's just like it's just the Japanese version. There's no NTSC in there because there's no video, there's no TV.
Yeah, doesn't
Yeah.
need to be. Okay. Well, I'm glad that
Yeah,
clears
pretty
that up.
much.
But
Yeah.
no, fun
There you
fact
go.
about me. I have a DS Lite, DSi, 3DS, and new 3DS XL.
Hang on. So, which one's DSi?
DS Lite,
Sorry, DS Lite,
DSi,
DSi,
3DS,
3DS, and
new
3DS
3DS
XL.
XL. Yeah, new 3DS.
Oh, oh, okay.
Yes.
That's more models than I have. I
Just
but
had
you're
to keep
missing
getting the
this
new
one.
one. Yeah, I never
This is the
had the
one you need.
original. Well, you see, I
This
don't
is
collect
the
it. I If I could, I'd sell all of them except the new 3DS XL because that is everything before it essentially. So it doesn't really matter. But I would just happen to always buy the newest thing. Um,
mm, no, I get it. I get it. Me growing up, I didn't I mean, it's not that I didn't have the money or anything. My parents didn't have the money to get me all the new systems. Like I had a DS Lite at one point, and then I
mhm.
realized, this is rubbish. I don't like it. So I went back to using the original because I was just strictly MKDS.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure where I was going with this. Oh yeah, consoles. Yeah, no, like I just never I was never into like I was so locked into this game. I would barely consider myself like a guy that would or a youngster that would get all the latest releases and oh this game's coming out this month and this and that. I was just mostly playing MKDS, and occasionally, like I would play other series. Like for example, I like Resident Evil, I like Silent Hill, like survival
Hmm.
horror, I like Counter Strike. You know, the odd game, but like I don't have an extensive game library or anything like that.
Hmm.
So hence I just have, well, I've got this one and then I've got a stack of them over there. I've got four or five other DS Fats and I've got a 3DS XL, which is fantastic system.
Oh God,
But
yes.
it's not, it's for me not good for MKDS, but
Oh.
it's one hell of a system.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I obviously
Oh
don't
yeah.
speedrun DS games, so I can't speak on that front. But yeah, especially the new 3DS XL is just the perfect like handheld because it can do everything.
Oh yeah.
Like it
Oh yeah.
can
The
almost, I think it can even like do GBA technically natively
yes, it
on the
can. It
hardware
can.
level in some, so it can like do everything except Game Boy natively then or something.
I think it can
Hopefully I'm
do.
not speaking bullshit, but
I think it can even do Game Boy natively.
can't
Um,
really.
because the before the shop, the Nintendo whatever online shop closed down, like it had titles, it had virtual console titles from
Yeah,
Game Boy Color, and
but
I
Virtual
read somewhere
Console's
on.
emulation. The reason I bring it up is because they call the GBA Virtual Console, but it doesn't have like the like save state menus or anything because it's technically running natively.
Oh, okay, right, okay.
Yeah, so it's
Okay, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
yeah,
But the reason I say it is because some guy online was like, "Ah, technically this is native," and I was like, "I'm sold." Like that. I don't
yeah,
know. That just stayed with me, and I thought, yeah, that must be
yeah.
native, but
I
maybe not.
I think Game Boy is technically well, I think it just is emulation, and then everything else is technically not. But
Mm,
I think that's how it works.
yeah,
I don't really know, because I
but
know
yeah,
you can
it's
like uh you know hacking a 3DS is surprisingly easy to do, as they all say. But you can like load other GBA things and it reads it the same way as their virtual console, but it like loads it. Like there's no sleep mode, there's no menu, so I think yeah, it's running on hardware.
mm, no, yeah, yeah. Like again, it's 3DS is such an incredible console.
So good.
Like I originally bought a 3DS in December or November of 2011 when Mario Kart 7 came out. Because I was like, oh my god, another handheld Mario Kart game. I hope it's better than DS. Like, let's give it a go. Sold it within a month. I was not interested. I sold the game and the system. I just got rid of it. Um, Only a few months ago, I decided to get a 3DS. Again, I got the new 3DS XL, and
Hmm.
I saw all this homebrew stuff online, and I decided to try it out. But I do own the games legally, of course,
Yeah, of course.
and yeah, acknowledge it's a great little console, and it's so powerful. It can do so much.
Hmm.
Like it's mad.
And you can actually fit it into your pocket, unlike the Switch, which
Yeah.
is obviously better
Hmm.
overall, but you can't
Hmm.
put your Switch in your pocket.
No, no,
It's
no.
kind
And
of a
soon you
nice
won't be able
novelty
to.
there.
You'll be able to put your Switch 2 Lite in your pocket whenever it comes out,
I don't know about
if
that,
you're
but
lucky. Well, maybe I don't know.
we'll see about that. But
Yeah, yeah.
oh, here's a fun
Um.
thing you can also do with the 3DS. Just completely off topic is not native, obviously, but Virtual Boy.
Oh yeah,
It works so well
yeah,
because it's
yeah. That
3D and you don't need the stupid ass goggles.
I've heard so much about it, but I've never tried it.
It
But
works very well.
okay, okay. I do need to give it a go at least,
I
whilst I have a 3DS.
it's very interesting and it just works.
Mm.
Like I think it runs it the same a Virtual Boy would. Obviously, it's emulation, but like they have the frame rate matching, and yeah, it's pretty cool that it just
I'll
works.
keep a note of that then. I'll keep a note of that.
Just a little
Absolutely.
fun thing you can do with a homebrewed 3DS.
Yeah.
But anyway, trying to find the topics again. wherever we were.
Yeah, same. I'm trying to think as well. Like, how did we get here? Like,
I don't know.
talking about
Listen,
3DS emulation.
we're all about tangents
Um,
on this show. It's fine. But
yeah, yeah.
something when we were talking about RTAs, I think I was trying to like get all the details on how the RTA runs work, like how the 32 tracks is again. You start at figure eight circuit and then you do an order until whatever what is it like N64 Bowser's Castle is the last one or something? No, that's Wii. That's Wii.
GCN Yoshi Circuit.
Yes. Yeah, GameCube. That's something I do remember is every cup in retro was SNES N64 GBA GameCube in that order for
That's
every
correct.
cup.
Yeah,
Yeah. And they never
yeah.
did anything quite like that again. But it was cool that it was organized in that way.
I really liked it as well. Uh, a lot of people give the retro tracks a lot of stick, but I think
They're running on
I
DS. I
think
mean, I'm not going to complain.
yeah, I think they look brilliant, really pretty, simple, solid.
Hmm.
The flat tracks are great for high tech racing, like PRBing across everything is like, oh, it's fucking gorgeous. Doing a 3-lap PRB on Mario Circuit 1 in 38 seconds. It's so good. It feels great. And Sky Garden is another one that's so broken. Like I hate applying. I won't say I hate, but I'm not one for applying the word broken to Mario Kart DS often. But if anything, if you remember the track Sky Garden, right? Do you remember the shortcut at one point that you used the mushroom to
Yeah,
go
that
from one
track had a
cloud to the
ton of
other?
shortcuts and they all required mushrooms because they were all off road. And you had
Yeah.
to like hop
So
over the edge of clouds every time or something.
yeah, yeah. So the world record there is a 59.4 something by MK Dasher, who might still be in the chat. Um, and it's so ridiculous. Like my best times are 100.9, I think, from like January or February of 2012. It's a ridiculously hard track to get good at. But basically, once you master the 3-lap PRBing, it's like you just cleared that shortcut all 3 laps, and then you take all the right lines, and that's the difference between getting a 1 minute 10 time with a one compared to a 1 minute flat time or whatever. It's broken. I think that shortcut and combining it with PRB is so broken. If any, yeah, and on the topic of shortcuts and glitches and stuff, the
Yeah.
game has been relatively uh we'd always we'd always sort of uphold the game's reputation as being like one that's glitch and shortcut free, and like it's, look how great our game is, it's coded so well,
Never
and
say
look
that.
at yeah, we ate our words. We were always boasting about this in front of all the Mario Kart Wii people, like, your game is trash, look how broken it is, and that ultra shortcuts, what? And in April of last year, like, this super bounce tech stuff that you might have heard of, I don't know,
Waluigi
came,
Pinball, Luigi's Mansion.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, it came out of nowhere, and it really uh ignited that debate. People saying like, "Oh, the game's broken now," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, you could present the case that it is getting kind of broken, because that's nuts how the world record on Waluigi Pinball went from a 155.5 to like I think now we're at a 131. So it's to think that we're going to cut 24 seconds is it's insane.
Yeah, they're hitting it all 3 laps now, right?
All 3 laps,
Oh god.
and like in the first couple of weeks, I made the stupid call of saying, we're not going to get 3 out of 3 till like in a few years' time, and I think we got 3 out of 3 in a few months, in
Yeah.
like 2 months or 3 months or something ridiculous. And yeah, one of them, and it's done shroomless on one of the laps as well
Oh my god.
to make it even crazier. So yeah,
Well,
so that yeah. So that super bounce tech is used on Delfino Square, and what was the other track? Luigi's
Luigi's
Mansion.
Mansion. I don't think I
That's
know
right.
about Delfino Square. I know Luigi's Mansion is like, once you enter the house, you can like kind of clip through and get into the tunnel. But
Yeah, yeah.
I,
You clip through on the left, and it's you can pause buffer as
hmm.
well, which is another thing that's sort of a hot debate within Mario Kart circles, not just in DS, but I think pause buffering is banned in Mario Kart Wii time trials actually.
Yeah, because because that goes through in-game time and a pause stops the in-game timer.
Yeah, well, we don't have such rules
Hmm.
where we're at.
Interesting.
Like the Luigi's Mansion, it's already done 3 out of 3, and it's the record pause buffers.
Hmm.
And we haven't really discussed its legitimacy or like anything like that. That's, I mean, you've said it. It's in-game time. That's,
Hmm.
I think, kind of why we haven't talked about it, because it doesn't affect the in-game timer. But
Hmm.
I don't know.
Like if you were doing it for RTA, it would affect the RTA run. But
Of course,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I get so many people asking me in my chat when I'm doing a run, oh, are you going to do the shortcut? And then I have to explain to them, no, because by the time I set up, like,
Hmm.
my I'll be 20 seconds behind.
Yeah.
It's pointless, because it's RTA.
Now, what's the Delfino Square one? I don't think I'm aware of that one.
Yeah. So when you exit the little town section,
Hmm.
there's a dock cut on the left, and then to the right there's a bridge, and then you
Yeah.
steer to the left, and there's like a mud alley section.
Hmm.
So before you get to that mud alley section and you sort of cross the bridge, there's a little corner where there's an invisible wall, and you can kind of see the what's it called? The bridge, the little bridge that goes up and down
Hmm.
with the boost
Drawbridge. Okay.
panels. Yeah, so you can shroom off of the dock area, bounce on the ledge of that bridge, do a frame perfect hop, and then do another frame perfect hop on the edge of the railing, and then sort of clip over the invisible wall.
Hmm.
Um, so
Damn.
I can link that to you later if you
So
like.
that skips the whole like turnaround where the alley is, the dirt alley.
Exactly,
Wow.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a
So
huge
that's
jump. Dang.
yeah,
So do you
yeah. The
land like
thing,
near the drawbridge?
yeah, you land in the grass section. So there's some grass next to the bridge. You
Oh,
land
so
there.
you're already, or is that on the other side already?
Uh, yeah, that's on the other side. That's
So
on the other
so you're
side.
crossing the bridge without using the bridge.
No, sorry. No, no, no. You're not crossing. You're crossing the bridge. So,
Okay.
so you jump over and you land on the grass section,
Is there
and
grass
then you
next to
go on the
before you
bridge.
go over? Oh, I thought it was
Exactly.
all.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought it was all just that tile. Okay.
It's
Because
it's
I
next to
know
the bridge.
after the
Yeah.
bridge, there's like that park area, and then there's tons of grass over there. But
Yes,
okay,
yes.
I see.
So before you drive on that bridge or the boost panels, there's a section of grass to your right.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
In my memory, I just thought it was all tile. Okay, never mind. I'm caught up. Wow.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's still a
But
huge gap. But
it's a pretty big skip. However, for Waluigi Pinball, it saves the most time. On
oh
Delfino
yeah, of
Square, it
course.
only cut 2 seconds total from the world record compared to the 24 seconds that it did on Waluigi Pinball, and I think it's roughly the same on Luigi's Mansion. It cut like 2 or 3 seconds.
Yeah,
Um,
I could tell they were
but
pretty
still,
minuscule, but the way Waluigi Pinball's laid out, you're
yeah,
just
no, yeah, yeah.
cutting like
It's like
a
one,
third of the track at that point.
yeah, yeah, and you always obviously have to keep in mind checkpoint system.
Yeah.
The part of the reason why MKW had so many of these ultra shortcuts was because the checkpoint system was near to non-existent. Like, it was really messed up. Um, so you can actually do a few sort of shortcuts in MKDS, um, but the laps won't count,
Hmm.
or else the game would be plagued with shortcuts as well.
Yeah. Are these the only
Pretty
three
much.
that work right now?
There's actually one that it's only possible via tool assisted means
Okay.
on Airship Fortress. So you do this elaborate mini turbo, and then like you release it, and it bounces off of the rocky wrenches that sort of
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
come up from
on the
beneath the
base of the
ground.
ship. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You bounce off of two of them, frame perfectly, and then you like. It's pointless. It works because you beforehand you have to like drive towards a checkpoint, then turn around, and then you do the actual bounce tech. You clip over this ceiling, and then you land right below the cannon area.
Mm.
But setting up and stuff, you'll lose like whatever amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And apart from that, there's shortcuts on Rainbow Road which are pretty famous that
Mm-hmm.
I think Summoning Salt was covered. And there's a shortcut which I do on, well, I also do the Rainbow Road ones on 32 tracks, but there's a shortcut on Wario Stadium which is you sort of jump over this little area with bumps, and then Lucky 2 picks you up because you go out of bounds. So there's that. So there are shortcuts apart from the big major ones that were discovered last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
And those other shortcuts all involve jumping off the track in specific places for Lakitu to pick you up later, right?
The Rainbow Road and Wario Stadium
Yeah.
ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes. On Rainbow Road, there's two. There's one called the loop shortcut, which is basically turning
Oh
around
yeah.
in this upward section, and then you sort of either shroom or mini turbo, and then narrowly avoid this death zone or hitting the underneath part of the track above. So you skip the loop section. It's
Yeah.
hard to explain.
I do remember seeing that. Yeah, you just
Yeah.
barely
What?
skip and avoid it.
Yeah. What's funny is that exact jump was discovered in 2006, but we didn't make the lap count up until 2014.
God.
Yeah. So almost 10 years it took, 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so right after doing that shortcut, you turn around after going uphill, and then you mini turbo off the road to the left of this floating pipe thing, and then you sort of fall into the abyss, and then Lucky 2 picks you up, and you skip another second or two. Yeah.
Lot. Well, it still sounds complicated, but far less than multiple frame perfect bounce shenanigans.
It sounds complicated only because I'm explaining it so shit, probably. You need to
Well,
see the videos.
no, I mean, like, yeah, obviously you could watch it, but like understanding how to actually perform them is always going to be like, oh, that sounds hard. Like I could explain how Flyco glitch works right now, and it's like you see it and it makes sense, but it's like you hear what goes on behind it, and you're like, oh, that sucks.
Is it the one, I may be completely wrong, but is that the one with the bullet bill?
Technically, yes, but you can do it without one.
Oh, okay.
They're,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're all flagpole glitches just the same, but yeah, it's more like
Okay.
the setup
Gotcha.
for it. Like, oh, you have to land on this pixel and push B on this frame, and then 2 frames later jump, and then on this frame start holding left, and then jump on the next frame, and then let go at both on the next. It's like what? But
Yeah.
then you see, and
Yeah.
you're like, sure.
God, man, the inputs in that game are robotic. Like it's gotten to
Yeah,
that point, right, where it's reached the human limit,
pretty
or
much.
the compute, like the theory limit, if anything.
We have the benefit of one less dimension, which helps a lot, but also makes it where perfection is a lot more easy, so it gets closer to
Oh, I see. Okay.
that.
Okay.
Fun balancing
Wow.
act, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
So, oh yeah, something I know we didn't bring up about the mission mode speedrun that I think is really
Hmm.
interesting is before you finish any mission having to quit out of it because it's faster to menu that way.
That's right. That's a mechanic that I didn't even explain, did I? Yeah. So basically, uh, during your quit out, the game is still like after you press quit out, like go back to the menu, the game is still in motion, obviously. So you can trigger the objective completion, and that skips the animation sequence where it tells you the rating you got and stuff. So that skips, I think it's 4 seconds or something.
Each time.
So each time, so
Ah,
times that by however many missions there are, which I always forget. There's like, it's
it's
actually embarrassing. I
yeah,
don't even
it's a
know how
good
many
handful
missions.
though. What, there's like
Yeah.
6 levels of like 9, including the boss fight, something
Uh,
like that.
there's 6 levels, then there's a seventh secret level.
Oh, yeah, there is a seventh secret level.
Yeah, so there's 60 something missions,
A
I think.
lot.
Uh, yeah, quite a few,
It
quite a
saves
few. But
minutes, we can say.
yeah, essentially. The Going back to what you mentioned about like time conversions, if anything, right? Since you can run on Wii U Virtual Console because the game was released in Wii U Virtual Console at
Hmm.
some stage. Some people run on that platform, so the loading times are insane,
Mm.
like it's ridiculous. So you can get, if I play on Virtual Console, I can probably get like a low 30 time, and my PB on console on DS is like 36, 56. But like
Jeez.
it's yeah, the loading times are insane. So there's this conversion done. I can't remember exactly what the calculation is, but basically, if you get a time on VC, Wii U VC, and you submit it to the leaderboard, where it's like emulator and DS combined, then I think you need to take away like 2 minutes and something.
Hmm.
I think, yeah. Anyway, that's it.
That's cool. I like that method, because it doesn't limit what you can play on while also not providing an advantage over original hardware. So
Yeah,
I like that method.
yeah, I like that too. I like that it's the leaderboards are not separated there, and that it's all very inclusive and stuff.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
but
We
unfortunately, we cannot allow either one of those formats for time trial for obvious
Oh, yeah.
reasons.
Well,
Yeah,
makes sense, but because emulation,
yeah, yeah,
official or not.
yeah. I can't remember if I asked or not, maybe at the beginning. But are you gonna pick up a Switch 2 when it comes out,
I am
or are you
thinking
strictly?
so. It comes out like tomorrow midnight time, I guess.
Yes, I think. Although I'm probably not gonna be at a shop at midnight to pick it up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick it up after work
Um,
on Thursday.
I originally wasn't gonna get one, but a friend graciously let me afford one, so I
Oh,
will.
good.
I have to get one now. But I was thinking of trying the midnight release thing because I've never done that before. But and I couldn't pre-order it, so I don't know. I also don't want to like wait for an hour and then not get one, so I don't know how it all works, but I'm thinking about it.
Neither do I. I mean, I pre-ordered mine pretty late on, so I'm still slightly paranoid that there won't be any stock, but
Yeah, I
I'm
have no
sure there
idea.
will be.
But
Yeah, I'm sure there will
I
be.
do really want it with the Mario Kart World Bundle, of course, because that is the Mario
Yeah.
Kart game I've always wanted in my life. So,
Yeah, I mean, what I'm glad about this game is that it differs greatly in its sort of traditional formula
hmm.
of, you know, Grand Prix, online mode, battle mode. That's all you're getting, or
Hmm.
on some other stupid little thing. Like in this game, you can free roam.
Oh yeah.
You can take pictures. You can do the what's that new mode called?
Oh, the knockout.
The knockout mode.
Yeah,
You drive from. There's like an in between
point to
in
point.
Grand Prix
Yeah.
where it's they've done something completely new, and I'm
Hmm.
really glad in that sense because if it's gonna be another Mario Kart 8 Super Deluxe Mega Mix, why?
Yeah.
So it's about time they do
I
something
mean,
new.
and that's cool too because if you like the traditional one, you can still play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on it. So,
Exactly,
win-win. You just have two
exactly.
Mario Karts.
Yeah, and it's MK8 Deluxe is I'm guessing it's the one that sold the most
Yes.
successful selling one of all time, and it's a solid game. And
Tons
I
of
may not think
content.
it's
That's for sure.
yes when you have 96 tracks and DLC and all this crap, then it's brilliant. You can see it's a successful game, and may I add, it is the closest, mechanically speaking, to MKDS. I think.
Is it?
I think so. I think so. If you look at the Waluigi pinball world record in that game, on the little straight area with the pinballs,
Hmm.
it the the text the tech of snaking is like snaking tech is there. It is present. You can see it, even though
Hmm.
there's no left
Yeah.
right on the joystick. You can see that the motion's like the same. The cart does this, and I think that's
Hmm.
cool. Like you haven't seen that in a long time,
Interesting.
and
Yeah,
yeah, there's
because
element.
I don't remember like how bike mechanics are in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Obviously, we had its whole thing, and that became like the meta, the optimal meta, is to use the bikes and the wheelies and everything. But yeah, Mario Kart
Yes,
8 kind of went back to more kart focused stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah, and
okay,
they removed wheelies in Mario
yeah,
Kart 8,
and yeah, there's
which
no
I found
wheelies.
a bit strange, but okay,
It's
sure.
okay. I think they have them back in Tour World. I don't know what the hell Tour's doing. People run that.
I Yeah, they even have world championships for that.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, they have like World Cups for Mario Kart Tour, which is nuts. I remember downloading that game randomly one day. I've never like I think I played it for 5 minutes and then I realized what is
Yeah.
this, you know? Um and I shit you not, I don't know what I pressed. I think I pressed like play or single player, and all of a sudden I was in a lobby with Japanese players, and I was like, what is going on?
I
And
I don't know exactly how it works. I think it had fake online where you raced against, real people, but it wasn't actually them live.
oh, okay,
I think that's how
that
that
may have been that.
works, but I'm not entirely sure.
I see. Okay, okay, that may have been the case then. I don't know, but it freaked me out. But
Yeah.
on the just a quick thing on the topic of world championships and what's going on with the MKDS community. Might as well mention that every year we have world championships that we still do, and it's a bracket format, knockout type tournament. So that that's organized every summer, and the one for this year is being prepared, is getting ready now. And we've got lots of like special events planned for this year since it's celebrating 20 years.
Hmm.
So yeah, just want to put that out there.
Yeah. How does the tournaments work for that?
Um, well, do you mean in
I
so
guess
it's
just like kind of explain how the event is formatted and how like what people would expect to see. Like,
uh yeah, so obviously not everybody will be able to stream their
hmm.
matches, or the for those who don't have capture, or excuse me, whatever. As a trust-based system in this community, we just say there's two players facing each other. They don't have capture, so they just take a picture at the end
Mm.
of their, the final score, and then you submit it into a private channel in the Discord. Like it
I
works
see.
like that.
Okay.
And if I'm playing my matches, then I'll be streaming them, and people join in and watch. Sadly, we don't have like some kind of spectator ROM hack. That would be amazing. Please, some computer science guy, reach out to me. Holy shit, please. So something like that would really make it cool. Um, to like cast matches and make it more into like an esport type thing. So yeah. But yeah, it's a knockout format. I forgot the exact name of the tournament format, but it's like a bracket format
Mhm.
type thing, and oh yeah, like a winners and losers bracket basically. It
Double
gets split into
elimination.
that. That's
Yeah,
exactly that's the word. Sorry, double elimination.
got it.
So we've got that, and want to make it as inclusive as possible. So there's a beginners tournament where people, you're not allowed to snake. Then there's an intermediate one where people are not allowed to PRB, and then there's a unlimited.
No restriction.
one way, no restrictions.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the one I usually play in, and then there's doubles, which is a
Mm.
sort of new one that we started a couple of years ago, where it's 2 against 2, and
Ooh.
people get into calls and stuff, and it's kind of like resembling the MKW, Clan Wars, and MK8 type stuff. So that's cool. I've clipped that plenty on Twitter and and stuff. So it adds some entertainment to it, and we have a lot of fun. Apart from speed running and time trials, it's a good thing to do. Apart from all that,
Yeah. And then I know you talked a little bit about live events, but can you
mm.
go into more detail about your history with the more, you know, showcase stuff?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'd love to. I'd like to say I'm very, very lucky to have done these events because um, when I got picked for ESA Summer 2022, which was my first sort of speedrunning marathon thing, I think I barely had like 400 followers on Twitch. Like
Wow.
I was just in my little corner doing my thing with my community joining in and watching. We were like 10, 15 of us max. And, I was the world record holder already, and I had an okay YouTube channel. And it was around the time, a few months after putting the documentary out. For those who don't know, MKDS 2021, which I think I mentioned before, feature-length documentary on the scene. So, yeah, very, very, very thankful that ESA, a pretty, the biggest speedrunner gathering in Europe, chose me. Mostly because, I was a world record holder, and I was like, Mario Kart DS's, I think apart from like one GDQ a couple years back, it has never been showcased before. So they gave me a chance. Very thankful for it. And that was great. And since then, I've just been streaming and submitting to events. And what was the next one I went to? I attended ESA Winter 2024. Yeah, ESA Winter 2024, and I ran all missions there. Sorry, I forgot to mention what I ran at the first one. I ran 32 tracks. So that was really, really great. I had Thomas Bolton on co-commentary, who I'm still in contact with today, and another guy called Markus Frenje, who's from Norway, who made the trip. So yeah, it was a great event in Sweden, and I really recommend it to more people. And then I ran all missions in February of 2024. Again, same people, and Puddings made it from Wisconsin, I believe, in the US.
Wow. Yeah.
So she traveled all the way to Sweden. So that was really, really cool to do co-commentary. I think she took like 3 flights or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that went really well as well. And I think I didn't do any live events in 2023 because I was like grinding to get partner on Twitch. So that went well. And yeah, and that summer was just amazing because I think a couple months after doing ESA Winter in 2024, I got accepted for Summer Games Done Quick, and I've been trying to get into a GDQ for ages and ages, but unfortunately, I couldn't make the journey to be there physically. So, yeah, God knows how many people were watching, like 70K or whatever, and it went really, really well. Again, Puddings was on commentary, and another American player, Mikey. So shout outs to them. They did a brilliant job on commentary. And I had a really, really great showing. I think the time I got would have been 3rd or 2nd in the world on speedrun.com.
Jesus.
And yeah, good performance there, and most importantly for charity. And that and I had a trip scheduled to Japan, just because I wanted to go. I hadn't been for like, I think close to 10 years. The last time I went was in 2015, and that was more or less when I wasn't playing the game that much anymore. And yeah, I was like, you know what? Let me organize a trip that falls around that period, and RTA in Japan is happening during that week. So I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna submit a run there. I know Japanese players there. It'll be super cool if they could do commentary for me. I discussed it with them, and they thought it was a great idea, and I got accepted. So that's doing the three biggest speedrunning events in the same calendar year was pretty special. I
The
don't know
world
many
tour.
people who've done that. Honestly, MKDS goes on tour,
Mm-hmm.
That's super cool. And
The true Mario
so
Kart
yeah.
world.
Yeah, that's the ABEL All Cup tour right there. So that was awesome. I'm telling you, we always hear this praise about Japan and what a wonderful country and this and that, but you really don't know it. I don't know if you've been, but
No.
until you've been there, you don't know how great it is. As a society, I remember doing my run, and after finishing, there was a queue of people waiting to like shake my hand and say hello to me and like give me their business cards. It was mad.
Oh my.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
crazy. It was crazy. Just a bunch of speedrunners just to like just greet me. And my run was graveyard shift. It was 4 a.m. local time.
Mm.
And I tried to tell them like, look, I'm severely fucking jet lagged. Is there any chance you could give me like a 10 a.m. slot or whatever? And they're like, nope. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So so I stayed up all night for that, and it was 32 tracks again, by the way. I didn't mention. And still, there were loads of people there. Like it wasn't packed, but there were like at least 30 to 40 people in the venue at 4 o'clock in the morning, which was mind blowing to me because they were watching, I think, Pokemon before, and they stayed to watch MKDS. And oh yeah, and the commentary was obviously all done in Japanese by my co-commentators. I barely said a word, so that's the only bad thing about it. But yeah, again, awesome. It was awesome. And then we had this big MKDS meetup, all the Japanese players, and it was just a really, really great time. 2024, 2024 was an awesome year for the game, for me personally. So yeah, and apart from those three events, I've done a few GDQ hotfix sessions. I don't know if you know about GDQ hotfix. Yeah, so I've done a couple of those. And yeah, that's as far as it goes for my marathon history.
All right. And then just out of curiosity, have you run anything else?
Yes,
Yeah?
yes. To your surprise, yes. I've done Mario Kart 8 Deluxe 48 tracks,
Ah.
and I got that into the top 100. It was like 90 something rank. So I ran that really briefly at the end of 2023. I also ran Super Mario 64 like in 2013, 2014,
We all
around
have
then.
to, yeah.
Yeah. I ran 16 star. It's it's a game. Like I've got my N64 here on my desk. I'm looking at it now. It's right there in case I ever want to play. And yeah, it's SM64 has been a game that I've followed almost as long as playing MKDS since like 2000, 2006 maybe 2007, when runs were not even on YouTube but were like on Speed Demos Archive. You know, there was a 16-star run by a guy called what was his name? I think his nickname was Holy Moly something.
Oh,
And
yeah.
his name, do you know who that is?
Yeah, because they found out his run was cheated.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. And I would watch another guy who also had some run spliced. Shadow of Miles,
Miles,
Miles
yeah.
Birkin.
Because,
He
yeah, he
was
was
an
big in Mario Kart 64.
yeah. And he would do the thing where he would like do this and
Yeah.
praise Jesus or whatever. Yeah.
I just
Yeah,
know that
I
from the
was
Abney emote.
oh yeah, that's an emote. Yeah, I forgot about that. God. So yeah, I would, N64 has been a big sort of influence on me, and I think I learned how to do the backwards long jump glitch when like around then, like 2006 maybe, when YouTube was barely becoming a thing, and I think I learned it through some like SM64 glitches compilation
Yeah.
thing. Anyway, that's I don't think I've done anything else. I don't think I've done any other speedruns. No, I've literally just done MKDS, SM64, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Yeah.
But Mario Kart World might enter the list. Hmm?
Yeah. Yeah, I have plans for that. Yeah, I want to can't remember if I mentioned it at the start, but I do want to, you know, dabble in that a bit and see where the speedrunning thing takes me in that game, because the special thing about like a racing game like Mario Kart is that it has so many different facets, different leaderboard challenges and stuff. Like you can get a world record in time trials, you can do the all track speed run and get the world record. You can, in MKDS you've got all missions, and or you can become like you can win tournaments playing races online, either individually or as part of a team. So it's so like all this stuff put together is so great about Mario Kart. And so my niche recently has obviously been with speedrunning Mario Kart DS. So maybe if I could translate that into Mario Kart World, I think that would be pretty cool. We'll see where it takes me. I'll just play the game for now, have fun. I don't want to force anything, and it looks great. So I'm really excited for when it comes out.
And then just curious about like the content side of things. Was the documentary you've been talking about the first thing you made that was kind of like YouTube content instead of just, you know, world record or PB or speedrun?
Yeah, yeah. It was the first thing. Before that, it was strictly videos of my times on each track. Figure eight circuit, da da da, whatever. So that passion project, which it was a passion project of mine. The idea of it came during the year of the pandemic, which is now like an age away, like 5 years ago
Yeah.
almost. Honestly, and that came to me. I remember precisely where it came to me. I was walking at night in some park, and the idea just came to me, and I started writing it down on my phone, and I'm like, I just had this vision of like making this cinematic type thing, explaining the history of the game and make it as much as I can, like summoning Salt, with commentary and stuff. And I've never done anything like it before, so I'm quite happy with how it turned out. So yeah, it was my first ever sort of thing, and I wrote a script for it. It wasn't a great period in my life, and it wasn't a great period for many people either, obviously
Yeah.
because of COVID. But I just graduated from university. I didn't have a job, and the project was feature length. It ended up like originally it was going to be like this episodic thing, and episode 1 will be MK Dash, or episode 2 will be this, that, and it ended up becoming a fucking film. Essentially, it's feature length is like an hour 20 something, so it's a film basically. So yeah, plenty of work got put into that. I scheduled interviews with people, pretty much like what you're doing now, but with several different Mario Kart people from different eras. I even got a Japanese player who started competing as back as 2003 with Double Dash, who had a bit of history with DS. I don't know if the name Nobuo rings a bell by any chance. He played Mario Kart Wii. Maybe you don't know him.
Yeah. I'm not too familiar with the scenes, but
Yeah, okay. So I managed to get an interview in with him, and I managed to, subtitle it and stuff, and it was like 6+ months of hard work every day, capturing high quality footage on the emulator, using all these fucking AR codes, action replay codes to make everything super clean and stuff. I just put so much work into that. And I'm really thankful that it turned out okay, because a lot of people watched it, and all these other, big Mario Kart influencers like Troy and Enmead and a few others reposted it and stuff. And yeah, man, and to this day, I'm really, really proud of that. And I'd like to make another more like scripted content in the future
Oh, was that the one and
for
only
sure.
like YouTube content in that form you've ever done?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
I haven't made anything since.
Hmm.
Um, uh, in terms of like scripted content and like telling a story and stuff. Mostly
Yeah.
because I'm lazy, but
Oh yeah. Are we all?
nah. But at the same time, streaming, the whole streaming thing sort of took over, and balancing Twitch streaming and YouTube came difficult.
Yeah.
Um, so after that, I would just sort of release like other Mario Kart DS content. Like I'll do these comparison videos, and I'm planning to restart the series where sort of compare, excuse me, rank 1 with rank 2 for a given track, and it's sort of like a showing both POVs on the same screen, that type of thing.
Hmm.
Um, so I'll make that, and I still do make that type of content, and I'm uploading a lot of shorts as well and stream clips and stuff like that. But eventually, I do want to make another major scripted thing that lasts at least 30 minutes or whatever. So yeah, stay tuned.
Hell yeah. And out of curiosity, how do you know how well that documentary performed? Like where it's at right now?
Yeah, I was actually talking to Netflix about it. No, I'm kidding. But
Okay.
um, no, that's it got over 100,000 hits on YouTube,
Wow.
which
Yeah.
it's okay. It's decent.
I'd say that's pretty
But
good.
yeah, no, yeah. It's
Especially for a
decent.
feature-length video. I mean, those are
Yeah,
hard to get so many views, especially if the watch time's pretty good, which I wouldn't doubt
yeah,
that.
yeah. It got a lot of positive feedback. I'm very happy about that. For such a niche thing
Hmm.
as Mario Kart on the Nintendo DS, it's not bad. It's not bad. Um, so so yeah, a lot of work went into that, like scheduling interviews and like I still have hours and hours and hours of interview footage on my hard drive that I
Mm,
can still use for other stuff. So it's super cool. And yeah, I would love to do another one in the future for sure, no doubt.
got it. And then
Hmm.
obviously, we brought it up a bit, but this Salt video came out, not too
Oh
long
yeah,
ago. So
yes,
did that breathe some life into the scene?
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
it absolutely did. Um, Not only did that video help Mario Kart DS, because that was in 2024,
Hmm.
but Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Ubisoft also made a couple of videos. I pitched an idea to him about this obscure Wi-Fi lore
Oh.
from 2007, and he was like, "This is so cool." And then he made a sort of video of it, and it got, yeah, I think like 200 or 300K views or something. Then he covered the shortcuts from 2024 as well on
Hmm.
those 3 tracks. But yeah, the summoning salt video, of course,
Yeah.
it sort of shed light on the scene, and people opened their eyes and were like, "Oh my God, Mario Kart DS, my childhood game, has a speed running scene. This is incredible. I used to play this game on the school bus, blah 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 blah." And and that's all I ever hear every day. New person comes in my stream. Wow, I used to play this on the school bus. I'm like, holy shit, another one.
Yeah. Well, I can
But
say I remember playing it in like fifth grade, so in the
whoa,
classroom. Like, and with the way they had the DS download play, you could play against
oh
other people that
yeah,
didn't own the game, but they had to be like shy guys or whatever. And I was like connecting to people in other
yeah.
classrooms.
Really?
Yeah, is
That is
interesting.
sick.
Yeah.
Oh, that is sick.
I remember it
Oh my god. Through
specifically. This,
walls?
yeah, I specifically remember this.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's I'm gonna remember that. That's the first I'm hearing that.
Okay, I'm glad I could be a little more unique, but
Whoa.
yeah.
Whoa. No, the closest thing I can relate to with that is when I was like 11 or 12 or whatever it was, um this was yeah, like in 2006 before I had wireless internet at home. My best friend who was my neighbor, he had wireless internet and he also had a DS and MKDS and he played along with me, but he didn't get as good as me. Um he lived on a third floor apartment. Well, the buildings, like the apartment complex in our area was these 3-floor buildings. I lived on the ground floor, he lived on the third floor of these two separate buildings, and there was like this grass area that separated it, sort of like park area with a tree.
Mhm.
I'd go to his building, I'd sit underneath like where his apartment is just to connect to the Wi-Fi on my DS, just so I could play, and I'd get like one connection bar, you know?
Hell yeah.
And I remember that.
That's all you need.
No, I remember. I just, if anything compares to that story, there, that's my version of it. That was my first, and I would go to like, I don't know if you remember, Nintendo would partner up with like Starbucks and like
Hmm.
these other places to um provide Wi-Fi hotspots for DS
Oh
gamers.
yeah, like they did that with
Yeah,
Pokemon a lot, like at GameStops and stuff.
that's right.
Hmm.
Yeah, so you could go to a Starbucks, connect, and play Mario Kart or Pokemon or Animal Crossing or whatever it is.
Hmm.
So I think that's a really super cool initiative that they did apart from the DS download play. Like the DS revolutionized the mid
Oh yeah,
2000s. It really did. Like if you think about it. Um but yeah, the DS download play was super cool
yeah.
for sure.
I know you could only play like 4 tracks and it was incredibly limited, but I mean the fact that you didn't have to own the game is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's brilliant. It's
Hmm.
brilliant for we're not we shouldn't forget that apart from it being, this very high level, sophisticated 4D chess type
Hmm.
game. I'm kidding, but it's a really brilliant casual game, and a lot of people enjoyed it for what it was, and it got such good reviews,
Hmm.
and it's still great that it's being talked about today so highly, and it's ranked from what I read and hear, it's constantly ranked as like a top 3 Mario Kart game, and people when I ask them like what's your favorite one or what's one of the most memorable Mario Kart games, Mario Kart DS just comes to mind almost instantly for
Hmm.
many of these people. So I'm very happy about that. Of course.
It's my second most memorable Mario Kart, probably my third favorite. Well,
Good.
third or
I
second.
like to hear that. I like to hear
We
that.
will
Which,
always
which
triumph everything for me, but yeah,
fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I I,
because
I
that was my
gave
childhood. But
no, yeah, of
DS
course.
was
Of
my
course.
first Mario Kart. I would have had it before we had the Wii.
Okay.
So,
So it was your first one, I see.
and I do
My
remember
first
it
one
very fondly.
My first one was 64.
Yeah.
In fact, my first ever Mario Kart memory was playing a multiplayer race with my dad against my dad on Frappe Snowland. I remember him picking Wario. I was Yoshi, and he kept telling me Wario's better, son. Wario's better, and I kept telling him, no, dad, no.
What's
So
true?
yeah,
You would know now. Or does it
yeah.
not?
Wait, so sorry, I was thinking of something else.
It's okay.
No, I was right. No, I was right.
You were
Yoshi,
right. All
Yoshi,
right.
Wario is not good in 64. The best
Oh, you're talking
characters
about
to
64.
pick.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Yoshi's a lightweight, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yoshi, Toad, and Peach
Yeah, I
are
knew
like the
Toad and
three best.
Peach, but I feel like I never see
Mm,
Yoshi all that much. I'm so used to like Yahoo from Toad whenever I
oh
watch Mario
yeah, yeah,
Kart 64. Yeah, Wario's a heavyweight, so yeah,
yeah,
not good. And whenever you see people
yeah.
run heavyweights, it's always just Donkey Kong for the meme, not Wario. So yeah, he's super not
Mm,
okay.
no, no, he's not. He's not. Abney picks Yoshi all the time though, so
That
there might
does.
be a reason.
Mm.
He never ever picks Toad or Peach. So,
I, I just have the Toad's Yahoo burned into my memory from whenever I watch Mario Kart 64.
oh, I see. Hmm.
But yeah, good times. Oh, if I was to run a Mario Kart game, I'm heavily considering Mario Kart 64 just because of the skips and stuff is just cool and it's unique to that game. It's not as complex as the others.
Yeah, it's got a good balance of shortcuts and good driving tech. Um, it's got that shortcut on Frappe Snowland where you literally just drive into the out of bounds.
Mm-hmm.
Lucky2
Love
picks
that
you
one.
up,
That one's
and then
nice.
it's like, cool, you finished the lap. And yeah, DK's Jungle Parkway, I think, has one
Mm-hmm.
where you sort of drive in between the little wall thing and thinks you drove around.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, MK64 I've considered running.
Really? All right.
Maybe not for all skips or whatever, but like doing a bit of time trial could be cool. In fact, now that I mentioned 64, next year I will be attending my first Mario Kart meetup in the
Oh.
US. So
Ooh.
that's going to be cool. It's a Mario Kart 64 meetup, but there will be DS players and like Wii players and stuff. So I'm looking
Oh,
forward
is
to
it
that.
that meetup they do where they do that like 4-player race battle thing?
Oh,
Or is that something else?
it's this is a slightly different one
This
because
is different? Okay.
I think the one you're mentioning might be West Coast. I think
Mm, maybe.
this one's East Coast, more East Coast.
Okay.
I think it's in Pennsylvania
Oh,
somewhere.
okay.
Um, and yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so I'm gonna be attending that, so that's gonna be super cool.
Yeah.
And what were we talking about?
Just Mario Kart in general.
Okay, yeah, as if that
I was
has
gonna
not been
ask if you
apparent.
were to run a different Mario Kart game, what would it be? Would it be Mario Kart 64 then?
Uh, are we talking time trials, speed running, or
Yeah,
both? Or
both, either, you know,
okay,
get multiple answers out of this.
yeah, no, look, as much as I may have criticized Mario Kart Wii with how
Hmm.
the tech has changed and all that, I'm still familiar with the tech quite a lot, and I know how it works, and I can probably drive quite well. So maybe Mario Kart Wii, no skips, because I don't think I'll be able to do the skips that quickly. So maybe Mario Kart Wii RTA, and maybe a bit of the time trials again. 64, I really like the driving tech for time trial, and who knows, maybe I could do the all skips or no skips speed run sometime. Yeah, Super Circuit on Game Boy Advance doesn't really appeal to me. Super Mario Kart, I respect, but that one doesn't really appeal to me either. Double Dash, honestly, I could do loads. I could do loads because
Yeah.
Double Dash is great as well. Mario Kart 7, I don't like too much. I'm not gonna
Mm.
lie. Um, and obviously Mario Kart World, which I'm gonna do
Yep.
a little bit of. So yeah, that's your answer, I think.
Got it. And
Yeah.
then, on top of all of that, because you'll definitely do all of that, any other future plans in terms of speedrunning or content or anything else you haven't brought up?
Yeah. Good question. Good question. Touching on making some kind of just more scripted stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a very like I'm more like like gearing towards being like artistic rather than like frames and numbers and shit like that. I like making videos. I like telling stories, and I really, really enjoyed making that documentary. So I'll definitely like that's definitely not going to be the last of me in that sense. So in terms of content on YouTube, that just plenty of Mario Kart stuff, um, and yeah, just more of the same speedrun attempts on Twitch, and I, I I don't know. Hopefully, more stuff evolves from there. Collaborations with people, that sort of thing. But like I wouldn't say like in terms of content creation, I wouldn't say I'm like a natural streamer or anything like that. You know, I wouldn't say I have a natural streaming personality. I think I'm okay, but um, yeah, just more speed running, and because that's just in my nature to
Yeah,
just get better at the, you know what I mean.
yeah.
It's
Doing it for so long, why stop now?
yeah. Look, honestly, this this game has been a part of my. I'm 30 now. This has been what, 2/3 of my life. So I'm taking it to the grave at this point. So
Fair.
and it's only brought me great memories, some very, very hard grinds, um, a lot of friends, a lot of good connections who I've met IRL, had a drink with, had food with, met with in different countries. So many positive things, and I'm very, very thankful for, like, dare I say, the best gaming community ever. So, yeah, speedrunning special, and I'm glad I can do it for Mario Kart DS, and sort of have this talk with you here, and um, about this hobby, which is, it just breaks down to being a hobby, but at the same time, it's so much more than that. So you probably know what I mean
No, yeah.
when you hit a world record and you go to GDQs and talk to people and all this stuff, and it's mad. Like at uh, at TwitchCon, I had some random person come up to me and be like, "Hey, Abel, can you sign my MKDS cartridge?" It's crazy. It's it's mad. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, sounds like we kind of reached the conclusion here. I mean, I'll go and ask if there's anything we didn't cover that you'd like to go over.
Whew.
Yeah.
Uh,
Loaded question, but I want to make sure we covered all our bases here.
no, yeah. I mean, if anything, I could give some shout outs in
Mm-hmm.
terms of community resources and stuff like that.
Sure.
Uh, so the Mario Kart DS Players page has been around since late 2005. It's in its 20th year now. We're celebrating 20 years of the game at the end of this year. Um, if you're interested in the time trials competition, anybody watching, go to mariokart64.com/MKDS and check out the world rankings for each of the tracks. There's an extensive library of videos for you to learn. There's for you to learn the tracks and strategies on. Check out our Discord, which is the Mario Kart DS Network Discord. We've got tons of resources. We've got a very, very good tutorial video called From Snail to Snake. I know, it's a cool name. That's done by some really, really lovely community members, and which covers all the tech. And yeah, touching again on the World Championships that we're hosting again this year. It's very, very inclusive. People of all skill levels are welcome to join. You just inquire through the Discord again, and I think I think that's it. You can find me on twitch.tv/Abel. I stream this game pretty much every day, and I try break the world record in 32 tracks and do whatever I want in the moment. And thanks for having me, man. It's really, really cool to talk
Yeah.
about speedrunning and about tech and about frames and about all this stuff. So
I'm
thank you
used
so
to
much,
it,
man.
so don't worry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
thanks.
you've done 100 and which one is this? 100 and
Oh, 21, I think.
121?
I
Insane.
think.
You're doing a great job. No,
So
but you're
far,
doing a
so
great
good.
job. Well done. So yeah, thanks, man. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, and I have all your links. They're on stream. They'll be in YouTube description, including YouTube, Twitter, and Blue Sky. So follow all the stuff. But yeah, I guess that's everything. So we can call it a day. So yeah, thanks.
Fantastic.
Thanks everyone for watching. You know the deal. I can't exactly stop at this point, so why would I do that? You know where to find the show if you're watching it. I think that'll be all. So go ahead and end things off. Right. Take care. Till next time. Goodbye.